Right now, though, we're turning to our top story this morning as we've got some newly released body camera video of killer Bryan Kohberger, just months before he murdered Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. His footage is from Moscow police from August of 2022. The killer got pulled over for going over the speed limit and was cited for not wearing his seatbelt. Now, prosecutors plan to use this video to link him to his white Hyundai Elantra, which was key evidence in the case. Take a look.
Hey there. I stopped you going a little fast. You didn't realize this is 35?
Oh, it's 35?
It is, yeah. So you're going
41?
Yeah, 43 is what the radar said.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Do you have your license, the registration, insurance? Were you wearing your seatbelt when I stopped you? No. That's no good.
Just being honest with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You guys are, there's absolutely no point not being honest.
Yeah.
You have a radar.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Do you have a vehicle registration slip or something like that? Okay.
Would I give you my insurance?
Yeah, this is your insurance. That's good. Thing is, I'm on a overtime shift right now. One of the conditions is we have to enforce seatbelt laws, and so to write you a citation for that, it's $10 in Idaho. Not a huge deal, but yeah. Be right back. Can I get a phone number from you?
Yeah, why?
We need to put it on the citation as it goes to the court.
Just for future reference, I mean, I'm obviously an honest person, right? I told you I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. When people lie to you about that, say I'm lying to you about that, right? For my own knowledge. Honestly, go back and look at that.
With a seatbelt like this, I didn't check as I was coming up, so that's why I asked you.
Do you usually?
I should. I noticed you weren't wearing it, and I'm on this emphasis, and like I said, I'm getting paid by ICD, and they want us to enforce the seatbelt laws, so I was being more aware of that. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
So what do you think of this newly released video footage? Let's bring in our legal eagles. So happy to have on the show this morning attorneys Don Malarczyk and Franz Borghardt. Good morning to you both. Franz, would you start us off, please? Your thoughts on Mr. Kohberger in this traffic stop?
Well, if you think about it, this is the most we've gotten from him. I mean, we've never really heard him speak in court before. We've never really seen much emotion. Even in the sentencing, he at most he smirked, Julie. So, you know, that's number one. Number two is, isn't it interesting the questions he's asking about a seatbelt violation, about, you know, his interaction? It's just kind of creepy. So, you know, I think there'll be other information that comes out over the course of the next few weeks, months. This is probably just tip of the iceberg, but I mean, it just gives us a little snapshot into who he is. So, you know.
Right. Yeah, you're right, Franz. And we see he's like overly concerned when it comes to the traffic violations, but clearly has no regard for the homicide laws. Don Malarczyk, let me go to you here. What did you think when you saw this creepy video? Franz is right. It is creepy. He does look like a creep sitting there. What did you think of him and his comments?
It's creepy. It's disturbing. And, you know, what's interesting to me is he doesn't really appear nervous. He doesn't appear like, you know, he's worried about any consequences. And what's odd is he's really trying to kind of get in the head of the police officer. He's saying, you know, hey, I'm honest. Doesn't that count for something? And he's trying to talk to him about job, how he does his job, why he does his job. And he's portraying himself really as kind of a victim. Hey, I didn't know, you know, I was just driving. Aren't you going to give me a break? But what stands out to me clearly is this is a guy who is not nervous. He's calm, he's collected, he's in control, he's not emotional. He's asking really intelligent questions, trying to get out of clearly violating the law. And I think that's a little bit of insight into what unfortunately happens 2 months later after this traffic stop.
Yeah, great points, Don. I love what you said about how he may be trying to get in the head of the officer. You know, like at one point, he asked the officer, he said, "Say I lied to you about the seatbelt." You know, and like, what does he get? What's the purpose of this? Franz, what do you think?
So, I think the uncomfortable part about this is, on the one hand, it's a $10 seatbelt violation. On the other hand, he seems to almost enjoy what's happening a little bit too much. And, you know, look, my thought from day one has always been, Julie, what happens if this guy gets away with it? Like, where does Kohberger go in life if he gets away with the multiple homicides? You know, does he get a PhD and go and teach? Does he become a serial killer? What happens? But I think my takeaway from this is I would not be shocked, Julie, if there weren't other crimes that we don't know about yet.
You know, that's a great point, Franz. I've seen some things swirling around on TikTok, on X. You know, you don't know what to believe anymore. I mean, you don't know if you're looking at facts or propaganda anymore. You have to, you know, confirm every single thing you see in cyberspace. But yeah, you know, that's really interesting, and I'm sure we're going to hear about anything else, if he did anything else. Don, when I'm looking at him, you know, we know he's a murderer. At this point in time, he hadn't murdered those Idaho students. It was just 3 months before August, and, you know, we know the awful killings happened in November. Looking at him, I have this Ted Bundy, like, he gives me Ted Bundy vibes every time I look at him, because just the way he speaks, he's so articulate, we know he's smart. Curious what you see when you look at him, having, you know, had so many, I mean, you've debated a lot of high-profile cases with some really bad people. Does he remind you of any other serial killers, Bundy, or anybody else you can think of?
Yeah, you know, I think the Ted Bundy analogy is spot on. Ted Bundy was a guy, like Franz said, who seemed to be enjoying the limelight, enjoying the focus. And what strikes me is this guy is a complete psychopath. And you know, what we see in psychopaths and homicidal psychopaths is they're not nervous, right? They're not agitated, they're not emotional, they're in complete control. Inside him, I'm sure it is a burning, crazy, insane, loud, nonsensical voice in his head, but what he shows is this really calm demeanor where he portrays himself as being in control. He's not afraid of authority. He's challenging authority. He's trying to figure out a way out of this mess. He's cold, he's calculating. And these are the guys that are terrifying, right? These are the guys that scare the heck out of me when I go to sit down and I talk to them at the jail, and they don't want to address the real issue. They want to talk about other things. They don't want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about you. They want to talk about the police. They do everything and anything to avoid any real accountability, and they deflect to everyone else and everything else. And there's no real emotion. You can see it in his eyes. He's focused, and that is really terrifying.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you said there, Don. About the control, you're right. He likes being in control. It's very evident. He's emotionless. It's like, I think he's soulless too. When we think about whether we'll ever hear anything else from him, I've been getting this question a lot. Perhaps Franz and Don, perhaps you both have too, when people know what you do for a living and know you give legal analysis on cases like this one. Franz, do you think he will talk at some point to someone from prison?
I think he wants to talk. I think he wants to tell his story, whatever that is, but it will be very much a controlled burn, Julie, and by that I mean it's going to have to be on his terms. So I do think at some point there will be that very disturbing, creepy interview that we watch where he's being interviewed about the crimes. You know, I just can't help but feel that we're going to hear more from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. We shall see.